Alright everybody, welcome back to another top buy, top sell video here in the A1 Edge Finder, where of course we are going to go over our number one buy and our number one sell currently listed in the Edge Finder. Now before we get on into the video, I want to let you know that today is the very last day of our Edge Finder 55% off sale. So if you are watching this video on Saturday when it is uploaded, today is the last day to take advantage of that huge, massive 50% discount on the Edge Finder with promo code A1YT. So if you enjoy this video and you like the trading software and you want to get it for yourself, now is by far the best time to do it, maybe ever. I'm not sure that we've ever had a 50% off Edge Finder sale before, and it is ending again today on the day of this upload. So do not wait and take advantage with promo code A1YT. Get the Edge Finder for yourself, 50% off. But let's go ahead and dive right on in to the smart money tracker. First, we're going to take a look at COT report data, where we can see what smart money traders or institutional traders, what they are currently favored long and short on. So over here on the far right side, we have our most bullish assets, and currently the JP225 is the most heavily long asset from institutional traders, 80.57% long, followed closely by gold at 76.28, and then the euro and the US dollar both sitting at right around 70%. On the bearish side, however, the Japanese yen is the most shorted asset from institutional traders at the moment at 83% short. We also have all of that same information listed right down here in this little numerical chart here, where we can see the most bullish assets up at the top and the most bearish asset down here at the bottom. Our total number of long and short contracts open from those institutional traders, those money managers, hedge fund guys, you actually do get access to that information, what they are going long and short on via the COT report, and we are able to take all those numbers from that report and turn it into something that's a little bit easier to read. So our total number of long contracts, our total number of short contracts, the changes long and short from the last data release, and of course the percentage based on these numbers right here. So that was a quick look at our smart money tracker. Let's go ahead and jump into retail sentiment as well. We're going to be looking at something pretty similar, but instead of institutional traders, this is what the crowd or what the day traders are currently long and short on. So starting off here first, we are taking a look at US dollar pairs. And USD CHF is the most long favored US dollar pair from retail traders at the moment, 88% long, whereas Euro USD is the most heavily shorted US dollar pair from day traders at 70%. So that is US dollar top long and top short. Let's take a look at the minor currency pairs next. We have a lot more minor currency pairs to take a look at here, but we can see NZD CHF and NZD CAD are actually tied at 94% for our most long minor currency pair. Whereas if we scroll down here, CHF JPY is our most heavily shorted minor currency pair at 88%. So quick look at what retail traders are buying and selling at the moment. Let's go on into our watch list signals tab, where I have another update for you guys. So over the past couple of months, the Edge Finder team has been working really hard and put out some really awesome updates for you guys. We have our new central bank forecast tab, our bank signals tab, the risk on risk off gauge, the carry trade scanner, as well as other minor updates. We actually updated we added Bitcoin to the Edge Finder. So we've been hard at work making this the best trading tool on the market by constantly adding new features. And right now we are in the middle of something really, really cool, and we are actually tweaking how the Edge Finder gets scored. We are trying to make it even more accurate by pulling in even more data into different places. And so if you're familiar with the Edge Finder, you'll notice that historically, our fundamental stuff here, GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates, were either scored as -1, +1, or 0, where you'll see most of those numbers here are 1s or 0s. But here in the inflation tab is where we've started tweaking our scoring system. You'll see some 3s and 2s in there tossed in as well, because we are trying to, again, like I said, pull in more data from different areas and just try and make everything overall more accurate than ever before. So with that said, it is still being tweaked. It still has some work to be done, but we are going to take a look at some currency breakdowns anyway. So our top buy at the moment is actually Bitcoin with a score of +7, followed closely by the S&P 500, US 30, gold, and the NASDAQ. So looks like indices right now are performing very well. I know that Nick actually caught a really nice NASDAQ trade earlier this week. We also have gold trending upwards, but with Bitcoin as our strongest score at the moment, with that score of +7, we can take a look at Bitcoin, but I think that we should also take a look at a currency pair, and we only have 3 cells listed in the EDGEFINDER at the moment, only 2 of which are currency pairs in ZDCHF and pound USD, and I think that we should stick with pound USD just to get a breakdown of the dollar numbers. I suppose we'll see a little bit of that when taking a look at Bitcoin, but it'll be interesting to see those dollar numbers compared to another currency pair, or another currency rather, the pound. So let's do that, and in fact we can start off with pound USD and save Bitcoin for last. So let's jump on into the pound USD breakdown page.
Today is the last day. You have 1 day left before the EDGEFINDER is going back to its standard price and is no longer 50% off. The EDGEFINDER is a trading software tool that traders around the world are using to find better trade setups right now, using things like the Smart Money Tracker, which reflects the COT reports, retail sentiment. It also tracks seasonal trends for traders who are looking to take advantage of seasonality, and it creates a watch list each and every day for traders that use this from all over the world. People in North America and parts of Africa and Asia and Europe are all using the EDGEFINDER to build better data-backed trading setups. If you've been watching the channel for a while and you're familiar with our software, then I want to let you know that our half-off sale is ending soon, and I don't want you to miss out. If you would like to get more information about the software, make sure to message us right now using the link that is down below. You'll be connected directly to someone on our team to ask them about the half-off sale. But wait, it gets better. If you direct message us, it's 55% off. You get an extra 5% off just by messaging someone on our team who can connect you to the tool, get you set up, and if you'd like, you can set up a call to go over the software if that would be helpful to you. We want to make sure this software is a right fit for you. We're not just trying to sell this to anybody, and we'd like to connect and get to know you before we sell you the software. So again, click that link and let us know that you're interested in the half-off sale before it ends. And remember, 55% is available if you do direct message us now.
Like I've mentioned, it has a sell score of -3. COT data is currently a 0 or neutral score, and retail sentiment is a score of -1. Taking a look at COT data over here, we know that the US dollar was pretty heavily favored on the long side from institutional traders at 70.38%. And if my memory is serving me correctly, I believe that the pound was actually right after the dollar. I didn't mention it, but I do think that the pound was right after the dollar. Again, heavily favored on the long side from institutional traders at 67%. That is why we're getting that neutral score, is because both currencies are favored on the long side at the moment. Retail sentiment, on the other hand, shows us some favoritism on the long side from retail traders, long 64% there. That's giving us our -1 score. Seasonality is also a score of -1. We can see in the month of July, historically speaking, over the last 10 years, if you were to isolate only the month of July and just looked at how the pound dollar trended in the month of July over the last 10 years, you would notice that historically speaking, it does trend a little bit bullishly, which is kind of what we've seen a little bit this month. Trend reading is a score of +1, and by taking a look at this trend projection chart, you might wonder, why is it a score of +1? Why is it a positive score when it's clearly in a downward trend? Well, we aren't getting the full picture just by looking at this small box right here. We can actually take a look at price forecast and get a longer, more detailed chart that shows the closing price point each day for an extended period of time. So we can see pound dollar here goes back to July 13th, whereas price forecast goes all the way back to July 4th. So you're getting an extra few days here to see how each of these assets has been trending over the past couple of weeks, and trend reading is taking into account all of this information, not just what you can see in that small price or trend forecast box. So we can see here, ever since July 4th and possibly even before that, up until July 14th, this thing continued to move up, up, and up until July 14th, where it has come down over the last week. So I would imagine that during this time, that was actually a +2 trend reading score for the pound dollar, because it was making some real strong moves upwards, and I imagine it was back here as well, what we can't see. But since then, over the last week, since it has started to come down, price forecast is trend reading is giving it a score of +1 because of this contradictory upward move here and then a downward move more recently. And we can see price forecast is kind of starting to level out. It does show a slight trend upward here, but I would imagine as this continues to move down, this will begin to level out and then eventually move back downwards. So let's go back in here. Let's see, GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, and interest rate. Up next, we're looking at fundamentals. GDP growth, unemployment, and interest rate scores of -1. Inflation, a score of +1 at the moment. And again, our inflation data is currently getting tweaked at the moment. We actually have developers working on all of that right now as I'm recording this video, but real quick. The pound GDP growth 0.1% compared to 2% in the US. Inflation in the UK 7.9% compared to 3% here in the US. Unemployment 4% compared to 3.6%. And lastly, interest rates on the pound are 5% compared to 5.25% on the US dollar. So there we go. Those are all the reasons, numbers, data, fundamentals backing up this -3 score and sell bias here in the EDGEFINDER. Let's go ahead and jump on into Bitcoin, because that was our top buy of the day with that strong +7 score here. COT data is a score of 0 and retail sentiment a score of +1. Taking a look at the COT data, we can actually see that those institutional traders are slightly favored on the short side. Technically speaking, they are 53.5% favored on the short side, but the reason it's getting that 0 or neutral score is because that is just not quite enough for us to say clear and obviously that they are, favored one way or the other. It's just a little too close to 50-50 for us, so that's why it's getting a 0 score. Retail sentiment, on the other hand, is nowhere near 50-50. 82% of people shorting Bitcoin at the moment. Seasonality is a score of +1, and we can see here again, historically speaking, in the month of July, it does typically tend to trend a little bit bullishly. Trend rating is listed as a score of +2, but as we mentioned with the last pair, this box can be a little bit deceiving because you really have to take the entire chart into account. The EDGEFINDER is scoring not just based on the past couple of days, but the past couple of weeks rather. So based on the past couple of weeks, the trend reading score would be a +2, even though in the past couple of days, Bitcoin has dropped. Let's go ahead and finish up with our fundamentals here. GDP growth, inflation, and unemployment. We see GDP growth with a score of -1, inflation with a score of +3, and unemployment with a score of +1. We can take a look at those numbers right over here, and these are actually just all the US numbers that we went over with the pound dollar cross. But what's cool about this page specifically is because we're not really comparing, Bitcoin doesn't have any economy, government, anything like that backed behind it. Bitcoin does not have a GDP or an inflation or an unemployment that could affect its strength. Rather, we're comparing it to the US dollar, and we can kind of get a feel for how that dollar news, what affects the dollar, how it affects Bitcoin. So for example, as GDP growth goes up, that is typically a positive impact on Bitcoin. Whereas inflation, unemployment, and interest rates, when those numbers go up, that is typically a negative effect on Bitcoin. So you can watch those US dollar numbers, and as these rise, it will have either a positive or negative impact on Bitcoin compared to what the US dollar is doing. So there we go, a quick breakdown of pound dollar as well as Bitcoin, our top buy and top sell currently in the EDGEFINDER. Again, EDGEFINDER is 50% off for one more day only. Today, Saturday, the day that this video is uploaded. So do not wait. Do not hesitate. If you want the EDGEFINDER for 50% off, the lowest price that you will ever be able to get it at, go ahead and use promo code A1YT right now at checkout. You can find the links for it down in the description below. Get the EDGEFINDER for yourself for the best price ever.